This evening, first, suspicious shipment at CJIA, 500 fake US bills caught in a cargo package at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport. GRA says the seizure is part of a growing smuggling trend involving cash, gold, and arms. Now the hunt is on for the consignee. Plus, Guyana stands firm on border talks. The Chinese embassy urges Guyana and Venezuela to settle their territorial dispute peacefully, but Guyana's government says it isn't having it. Why the government is publicly rejecting Beijing's suggestion and what this means for the CJIA case and Essequibo's sovereignty. Also, 152 kilometers per hour and caught red-handed. The first driver nabbed by Guyana's new road safety camera is now $47,000 lighter. We'll show you how the Safe Road Intelligence System is cracking down on speeders and dangerous drivers, and why social media stunts around the radar signs have authorities worried. Meanwhile, help for rice farmers on hold, with rice mills on the Essequibo Coast backing up and buyers stalling. The Agriculture Ministry steps in. A new paddy drying facility is in the works, and ferry fees are being waived. Will it be enough to rescue this season's crop? And online giants brace for tariff impact. Get ready to pay more at checkout. Temu and Shein are hiking prices for U.S. shoppers as Trump's 245% tariff on Chinese goods takes effect. What it means for fast fashion and bargain hunters, and how the global e-commerce game is changing. Stay tuned. These stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for April 17, 2025. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, customs officers attached to the Guyana Revenue Authority have seized a package containing 500 suspected counterfeit $100 bills at a popular cargo bond at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport. In a statement, GRA confirmed the seizure, noting that the bills bore all the trademarks of authentic U.S. currency, along with additional markings. The package, which was incoming, is believed to contain imitation currency in violation of the Customs Act. Law enforcement officers are currently attempting to locate the consignee linked to the package as investigations continue in collaboration with local and overseas authorities. GRA noted that under the Customs Act, goods resembling currency or banknotes are restricted unless approved by the Commissioner General. This latest incident comes amid what GRA describes as an alarming trend in the smuggling of prohibited items such as gold, monetary instruments, arms, and narcotics. The agency has urged individuals involved in such illegal activities to cease immediately or face legal consequences. On a different note, the government of Guyana has formally rejected a recent statement by the Chinese embassy's charge d'affaires suggesting that Guyana and Venezuela should resolve their border controversy through friendly consultations and negotiations. In a release issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on Wednesday, Guyana reminded China that the territorial dispute is currently before the International Court of Justice as mandated by the United Nations Secretary General under the 1966 Geneva Agreement. Guyana emphasized its long-standing position of respecting the ICJ process, reaffirming its commitment to legal mechanisms and international law, rather than bilateral negotiations, which it believes would undermine the court's authority. The ministry also expressed concerns over China's silence on Venezuela's declared intention to hold elections on May 25th of 2025 for a so-called Guyana Essequibo state, a move Guyana views as a direct violation of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Reiterating its adherence to principles of international law and mutual respect, the government of Guyana made clear that it will not entertain discussions on matters currently before the court. In other news, the first motorist caught by Guyana's new road monitoring system has been fined for multiple offenses. Dale Jarvis has more on the Safe Road Intelligence System and its impact so far.
The first motorist caught by Guyana's newly launched Safe Road Intelligence System, SRIS, has been fined $47,000 for multiple traffic offenses. Joshwini Calder, who was clocked driving at 152 kilometers along the Monrepo's public road, East Coast Demerara, was fined $40,000 for obscured identification marks and $7,000 for a prohibited tinted glass after appearing before Magistrate Abigail Gibbs at the Sparendam Magistrates Court. Calder, who was arrested on April 8, was the first offender recorded by SRIS, a high-tech road monitoring system designed to detect speeding and other infractions using certified cameras automatically. On its first day in operation, SRIS flagged 259 speeding violations by midday, underscoring the widespread issue of reckless driving. Authorities are urging motorists to slow down and ensure vehicle information is up to date to avoid fines and summons. Traffic Chief Mahindra Singh said the system is about saving lives and changing the culture of recklessness, stressing that vehicle owners are legally responsible for any violations, even if they were not driving at the time. The e-ticketing system is part of a broader national effort to reduce road fatalities, which saw a 30% drop in 2024. However, a troubling statistic remains. 43% of road deaths in 2025 involved motorcyclists, with 72% not wearing helmets. President Dr. Irfan Ali has called for a national shift in road safety culture, urging all road users to take personal responsibility. The government plans to expand SRIS into Region 3, complementing its efforts with education and enforcement. While technology is helping detect infractions, authorities warn that it must be supported by behavioral change. Social media-fueled stunts, such as running in front of the radar signs, have also raised concern and prompted calls for public awareness campaigns. With the right mix of enforcement, education, and accountability, officials hope to turn the tide on road deaths and create a safer environment for all Guyanese. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Stick around when we return. 40 designers set to showcase talent at inaugural Origins Guyana Fashion Festival. And 10,000 households coming to Mosons Creek.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By doing so, you would be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and be included in the official list of electors for future elections, providing you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-27729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Sneak early with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Current smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has announced plans to establish a paddy drying facility to support rice farmers facing purchasing delays on the Essequibo Coast. Speaking during a meeting with farmers, millers, and truck operators at the Anna Regina Secondary School, Minister Mustafa explained that some regular buyers had paused purchases due to capacity issues, creating strain in the system. The government is developing a drying facility to ensure farmers can better manage their harvests and receive maximum benefits. The move follows recent consultations with farmers led by Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo. Minister Mustafa also confirmed that additional millers from outside the region have agreed to purchase paddy, and truck operators will no longer have to pay ferry fees when transporting paddy from the Essequibo Coast to Perica. Additionally, farmers were assured that the fertilizer assistance program announced by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali will be available for the second crop of 2025. In other news, the government plans to develop 10,000 house lots in Molson Creek over the next 3 years as part of a broader strategy to transform Region 6 into a modern industrial hub. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali announced this during a community engagement in Skeldon on Sunday. The initiative builds on the administration's housing efforts, which has already seen over 2,200 house lots allocated across Region 6 since 2020. All housing applications submitted by December 31st of 2024 are expected to be processed this year. Phase 1 of the project includes the construction of a modern 4-lane highway from Palmyra to Molson Creek and a new farm-to-market road to improve access to over 9,000 acres of farmland, benefiting former sugar workers and encouraging large-scale agriculture. Plans also include building an all-weather trail from Molson Creek to Siparuta to open additional lands for food production, along with government co-investment opportunities in agri-tech solutions like hydroponics. Other major infrastructure projects in the region include 2 modern hospitals, the Safe City Public Security Initiative, and major educational investments, such as a $2.6 billion Guyana Technical Training College and a US $7.2 million Hospitality and Tourism Training Institute at Port Moran. Moving on, a total of 40 designers, 31 local and 9 international, are set to showcase their work at the first ever Origins Fashion Guyana Festival, scheduled for May 2nd to 4th in Georgetown. The event will feature a wide range of fashion genres, including African and Indian-inspired designs, indigenous wear, contemporary styles, jewelry, and specialty lines. Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Wanage Waldron, met with participating designers on Tuesday, emphasizing the festival's role in spotlighting local creativity and building a sustainable fashion industry in Guyana. The minister stated that it is more than a fashion show, it is laying the foundation for a resilient professional industry. In addition to runway presentations, the festival will include workshops focused on fashion illustration, AI in the creative economy, and professional makeup artistry. Event consultant and designer Keisha Edwards said the session aims to strengthen local creatives' technical and business skills. Designers express excitement at being part of what many call a milestone for Ghana's fashion sector. Rehearsals are ongoing and organizers are considering additional model recruitment to meet the high demand. Access passes and a full schedule of the event will be released by the end of this week. Don't go away after the break. Timu, Shein to raise U.S. prices amid Trump tariff hike, and scientists find strongest evidence yet of life beyond the solar system.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
Who's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. E-commerce giants Temu and Shein announced upcoming price hikes for U.S. customers starting April 25th, citing increased operating costs from the new U.S. tariffs. The move follows President Trump's imposition of a 245% tariff on Chinese goods and the end of duty-free exemptions for low-cost imports. Both platforms warned of rising prices as they scramble to adjust business models ahead of the May 2nd trade policy changes. Concerns is growing over the economic fallout from U.S. President Donald Trump's global tariffs. The U.S. Federal Reserve is warning Trump's trade policies could slow economic growth and lead to higher prices. Al Jazeera's John Hendren reports.
A jittery stock market plunged once again as Wall Street responded to the latest salvos in a global trade war. The Dow Jones fell by almost 2% at closing Wednesday.
It's great to be back in Chicago.
The decline came as Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned in a Chicago address that President Trump's tariffs will likely slow the U.S. economy and raise prices.
The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
Powell's words roiled a nervous market already falling on the news that AI chip giant NVIDIA revealed that the U.S. government has imposed new restrictions on its chip exports to China. The slide in the Dow marked a year-to-date decline of nearly 7%.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General.
In California, Governor Gavin Newsom made his state the first to sue the Trump administration over tariffs, saying Trump illegally used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to circumvent Congress.
This is serious, and we need to take it seriously. And again, no state has more to lose.
He can't do it. Bottom line, Trump doesn't have the singular power to radically upend the country's economic landscape.
That move added to the uncertainty that Powell and other analysts say will contribute to an increasingly slowing economy. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Chicago.
A court in the U.S. is threatening to hold the White House in contempt for ignoring a judge's order to halt deportation flights of migrants to El Salvador. A legal permanent U.S. resident is currently in prison after being wrongfully deported there, even though he hasn't been convicted of a crime. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports.
Legal U.S. resident Kilmar Abrego Garcia remains behind bars in El Salvador's Supermax prison, despite the Trump administration admitting he was arrested and deported in error, and despite a federal court order reinforced by a Supreme Court ruling that the administration must return him to the U.S. On Wednesday, Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador to see Abrego Garcia and ask Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele to let him go. But Salvadoran officials refused. Van Hollen says Abrego Garcia's family fears for his safety.
I don't know about his health status. That's exactly why I wanted to meet with him directly. That's why I wanted to talk to him on the phone. That's why I want to arrange a phone call with his wife.
Van Hollen said he'd continue to work for Abrego Garcia's release.
I can assure the president, the vice president, that I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more.
The White House blasted Van Hollen.
It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens.
But a U.S. district court says the administration is showing deliberate disregard by not halting deportation flights to El Salvador, saying there is probable cause to find Trump officials in criminal contempt for violating his orders. The administration has a week to respond. Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said point blank Abrego Garcia would not return, no matter what the Supreme Court rules.
He is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story.
But it's not. This case with Abrego Garcia and others has become the center of a constitutional crisis between the Trump White House and the federal courts, two supposedly co-equal branches of government. The final chapter of who may prevail in that constitutional struggle has yet to be written. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Well, that's British scientists say they have discovered the strongest evidence so far of life beyond our solar system. They found gases on a distant planet which, on Earth, are only generated by living organisms. Al Jazeera's Wilson Dishart explains.
Scientists have spent years trying to find life beyond Earth. Now, the James Webb Space Telescope, launched by NASA in 2021, is starting to reveal some remarkable answers. It's been observing the atmosphere of a distant planet known as K2-18b. It's found significant traces of two gases. On Earth, these molecules are produced by plankton and algae in the ocean.
We have found signs of biosignature molecules, either DMS or DMDS or both of which are produced uniquely by life here on Earth and have been predicted to be biosignatures on planets around other stars as well. And we found the strongest evidence to date on a biosignature molecule, in this case a combination, potentially around another star outside the solar system.
K2-18b is more than twice the size of the Earth, and the star that warms it is smaller than our Sun. But the researchers believe the exoplanet could be home to a vast ocean, since it is the right distance from its star for water to remain in liquid form. Not too hot, not too cold.
The only scenario that explains all of this is one where it's a Haitian world that is teeming with life. And what is a Haitian world? It's an ocean-covered surface with a thin hydrogen-rich atmosphere. And the ocean being habitable. So that is the only scenario which can currently explain all the observations together. However, we want to remain open to other alternatives one might come up with in the future.
The researchers behind this discovery say that even if other explanations emerge, the James Webb Space Telescope has proven it is capable of detecting such biosignatures. But at 124 light-years away, it's impossible for scientists to get any closer to the planet to see if life really does exist anytime soon. Wilson Dishart, Al Jazeera.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's CFTV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the Easter holidays, but you can tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other and do have a wonderful Easter weekend.